We are going to be reporting 5 stories that you have not heard about, that they have not been covering for one reason or another. Here's the first one. Carbon pollution reaches historic highs, threatening human existence. Now, we've covered this on the Richard Fowler show before, and basically, carbon levels have not been this high in the last 3 million years. It's reached a milestone level of 400 parts per million, and at the beginning of the industrialization, concentration of CO2 was only 280 parts per million. What do you think about this one, Richard? Why are they not reporting it?
I don't know. You had to ask the mainstream media.
I hear you on that one. I mean, I think the reason... what do you think? It doesn't sell?
I mean, it's not exciting to know the world's ending. It's not going to sell any ads.
The reason why, in my opinion, is because the world ending is exciting, but the world ending thousands of years from now is not going to make them any money right this second.
Okay. I see, I hear that. That's a good one. What's number 2?
Number 2, we have not heard anything about the devastating impact of sequestration on kids, cancer patients, and first responders. These sequestration cuts have kicked kids out of preschool, left cancer patients without screenings, undermined public health and fire safety, and gutted programs that are helping low-income Americans. What do you think about that, Richard?
See, I don't know if that's necessarily true, because I think you've heard a lot. Not all the mainstream media, but some parts of the mainstream media have discussed the 70,000 kids not going to be part of Head Start.
Some.
Yeah,
not nearly enough.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Not as much as we've heard about some, the FAA, Kanye and Kim having a baby.
But that has nothing to do with the sequester.
Exactly.
But you would
think this is important. This affects a lot of people, but it's just not the people.
You said it. Well, okay. Go ahead.
I mean, it affects a lot of people, but
no. But I mean, I think how I heard it was.
Go ahead.
How I heard it was they don't talk. They don't talk about some of the effects of the sequester. Was that not how it's supposed to be heard?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just these specific.
But I think they cover the FAA. They talk about that. They cover the military quite a bit.
They covered White House tours.
They did cover White House tours.
They still are covering that on Fox News.
I guess. You might be right.
All right, and then, of course, we have the massive cuts to food stamps to the most vulnerable Americans.
Yeah, that is true.
That is true.
We're going to talk about that later on the show.
We do not hear anything about that.
We covered it on the Fowler show, though, but we're going to talk about it later on the show.
We are independent media.
For right now.
And then this is another story. We haven't really touched on this, but it's not because we're ignoring it. The 1,100 workers who died in a garment factory collapse in Bangladesh, and how...
That's a good one.
I mean, American retailers, who I'm sure are advertising all over the mainstream news, they don't seem to care, and they're just going on as business as usual because it's not happening in America. And I think, if they could get away with it in America, they would have no workplace safety laws. And the fact that it's, they say it's out of their hands is just totally crazy.
I agree. That's something we agree on. Number 4.
Number 5.
Number 5, rather.
The 4,000 gun deaths due to gun violence since Newtown.
Yeah, that's a good one. Those are all good ones. I think you're right. The media doesn't cover a lot of those things. And it's rather sad. I think the other thing the media doesn't cover is student loan debt crisis. I'm surprised that didn't make the list.
That is a good one. And I think the media will eventually cover...
No, the media will cover the Stafford loans doubling for a week. And they'll go back to their usual day jobs. And there'll still be $1 trillion worth of debt out there. But I can go on and on about this. I'm going to stop talking about it now.